Shabbos Parshas vיקהל-פקודי, Parshas Porah, which is this week, Mevorchim Achedish ניסן. Is this week Shabbos Mevorchim?
Next.
No. No, it can't be. It can't be.
Yeah, next. Chafe is Thursday, Friday,
Yeah, so it is Porah though. Is it Porah? Yeah. And next week is going to be, he says, both. It's Mevorchim and Shabbos Achedish. Tavshin Chav Dalet. Vidaber Avaye el Moishe ve'al Aaron leimar. The Eibusha spoke to Moishe and Aaron, saying, "Chukas HaTorah. This is the chuk of the Torah Shetziva Avaye that Hashem has commanded," and so on. You should take to you paraduma. If you do a dig bezeh, the Shailis brought in the Torah ma imrei beis pamim Havaye. Why does the pasuk mention twice Havaye? It starts off, as he says in the brackets, Vidaber Avaye, and then Shetziva Avaye. The L'chayra would appear that the flow should be like this. And God spoke. Finished. This is what God said. This is the law of the Torah which I command. We have to say I, but God spoke and said, this is the law of the Torah, without saying the word I. So either way would make sense, but questions clear? Why does he repeat again? Once you said, the pasuk begins, and Hashem spoke to Moishe and Aaron saying, now starts the quotations. This is the chuk of the Torah which I commanded. It shouldn't be Havaya, it should be I. What did God tell him? Tell the Jews, I'm telling you a commandment. So why is it? So either it should say, which I'm commanding, that would be the natural logical flow of the way the pasuk should be phrased, or even simpler, Hashem spoke to Moishe and Aaron saying, this is the law of the Torah. They should take to you a paraduma, finished. Repeating again, Shetziva Avaye is not a repetition, but it doesn't fit. Hashem, the Eibusha commanded Moishe and Aaron saying, this is the law of the Torah which Hashem commanded. Either I or they just say the commandment flat out. Yeah? Gam tzorich lahavin be'inyan kriyas Parshas Porah. You have to understand by the order of things. The Parshas Porah is Porah is created by Pesach. So what's the reason? This is b'medrash Rabbah Parshas Boel pasuk zeh Chukas HaPesach. So the medrash says in the pasuk where the pasuk based on the when it talks about the Korban Pesach, and also says the word Chukah. So the Medrash comments, noting that in both Paraduma and in Korban Pesach, it's a Chukah. Yehi libi tomim b'chukecha, plural. May my heart be whole in your statutes. What are the two chukim? These two. Zeh Chukas HaPesach, Chukas HaPorah. Loma says the Medrash, why? Sheshneim daimim zeh lezeh. Both Korban Pesach and Paraduma are similar. How? Because by the Korban Pesach is the word Chukah, it's a statute. And Paraduma is also Chukah. The Medrash continues, we don't know which one is greater. So how do we know which one is greater? We encountered this Medrash last year. Just but the Mefarshim, by the way, asked this. Can we go further? Moshel beis matrunos doimos. It's a moshel of two matrons that are similar. Shaymahalchos are walking. Stein ka'achas niroi shavis. They're walking together and they appear equal. So how do you know migdola mizu? How do you know which one is senior? So you observe and you see that Oisa shechaverta melava Oisa ad beisa, the one that her colleague accompanies her to her home, veilecha sacharah, and follows her. So you know that she is subordinate, she's walking behind her, and she's secondary to the one that she accompanies. So this moshel answers our question. They both look equal. Kach b'Pesach nemar b'chuka, u'b'Parah nemar b'chuka. They both say chuka, so which one is greater? Or mi godla? So we answer based on the moshel la Parah, Paraduma. Why? Anybody who is going to eat the Korban Pesach has to be accompanied by Paraduma. The one who's Tama has to be purified from the chatos, which is the referring to the mechatos, the sprinkling of the ashes of the Paraduma. So that's like the matron which follows and accompanies the other senior matron to her home. So the Rebbe asks, the pasuk tells us they're similar. So what's this whole discussion? Why even ask the question which is greater? Where's the opening? What gives you the indication the one is greater? Both called chukah. Understand the question? I don't know if this was the second question I think we had, but this one, I don't know. So first of all, where is the justification to even suggest that one is greater? And then in the teichen of the question, you want to know which is greater. This contradicts the way of life, pentaphalis, lest you distort. No magliseha leiteda. So her pathways have been removed, you do not know. Which means to say that the Eibusha doesn't let us know the schar of mitzvahs, lest we then distort and consider one mitzvah more important than the other. Chazal, and it's explicit in Chazal, in Medrash, Alte Yoshe v'shoikol mitzvah shel Torah. Don't sit and weigh the mitzvahs of the Torah. The kalis v'chamura shneim shavi. The so-called light mitzvahs, and how do we know it's light and chomer? How would you know one is light and one is chomer, one is more serious?
Maybe by the punishment.
From the punishment. So we can see the zinyan of kal and chamor, but still, don't you sit and the yoshe v'shoikol and therefore conclude that one is less valuable than the other. They're equal. Shneim shavin. So we see that all mitzvahs are equal, and one should not differentiate between one and the other. Completely violates the two instructions. Not only does he sit down, is erklärt, which one is greater? Is more than that. Shemesayim concludes masik. He comes and the end concludes apia moshel based matrulis from the moshel of the two matrons shapara gedola, and dismissing to whatever to a degree, making secondary chukas pesach. So it's very strange. No, so the Mefarshim Bemis and Medrash asked the question. One of the answers is the shaili is which one should be read first. L'cha'ira, HaChodesh should be read first, because Parshas HaChodesh was given on the Rosh Chodesh, and Parshas Parah was given on Beis Nisan, actually much later. But the second of this, not even talking about years, Parshas, but it's given in the order of the year. So therefore, Parshas HaChodesh should be first. If not for this cheshbon of what everybody needs, Paradum, in order to have Chokes Pesach, we wouldn't even entertain the question. We're only entertaining the question because we have to determine which one precedes the other. It's not fully satisfactory, this answer. This answer, Pashat Nigla, not fully satisfactory because it doesn't make it gedola. It doesn't make one greater than the other, just more necessary. And they was asking, the Pnimi, they're taking the Shaila literally. That's what Chassidus always does. He gives the deep explanation by taking it at face value.
And particularly according to the Moshel, Pesach is bigger because Pesach is
I'm sorry.
Pesach is bigger than Torah.
Oh,
You need the part
because he's a company.
the part serves.
The Torah serves
The
Pesach.
Pesach.
Look at
So
the
the
marshal there.
The younger one.
Everybody needs the Torah.
Serves
Makes the Torah greater. But
it's a means to an end. The Torah is only a means to an end.
So the matron that accompanies the one
is needed to get the older,
one that goes after
the matron.
is the secondary one. The one that goes after.
It's not about after.
It's falling behind her.
The para has like a. You can't do Pesach. You can't do Pesach.
No, but I understand that. But who needs who in the matrons? Well, what's the marshal telling us? That's the great one. Migdal Mezuna and Medish answers. The one that follows behind her, the other matron. Okay, in Pashto said, I remember seeing it, the one who walks behind is secondary. It's not. Here, the Paradum is walking behind because the first matron cannot get home without her. So you cannot bring the Pesach without Paradum. The Paradum is greater.
You could say that the par is also, it's like the par is getting dropped off first, in a way. So you need the para, it's getting dropped off first, it's done. And now the Pesach goes home. You can see it like that too, the way that I was explaining.
But the end of the Paradum is greater, right?
Yeah,
the one that's dropped off first
so
is
he's dropped off first, because you need the para to happen.
Yeah.
And then you go to Pesach. So she's dropped off first. She's the first address. She's dropped off first because you.
So what are you answering? No. What do you with the dig of Achareha? What's your dig?
The way that I explained, para is greater.
So you're saying the one who the one who gets home first.
Para is getting home first with pashtos. Because you're not going to Pesach without para.
Yeah.
Pesach's not going home till para.
The one that goes behind is really
the next thing.
The one that goes behind is really Pesach. So that makes sense. Good. That's good. Right. So she's walking behind in the heels of Paradum. Once Paradum is done, then she goes home. So she's secondary. Yeah. No, that's good. That's what's bothering me here. Okay, she's walking behind because Paraduma is done with first. Good.
Why is it two questions about on the Chukah? Saying we need to understand why we're asking which Chukah.
Where is there an opening?
The whole big shah. Why can't we just go to the big shiloh of the whole paragraph of
because the first one is more in pashtus, the second one is in Inyan, in Teicha. The first one is what gives you the indication one is greater. They're both called Chukah. Where's the opening anywhere that indicates there's one superior to the other? In pashtus. Then the second question is in Teicha. They're not. Everything's equal. First one's Moshe in like in the diuk. Where's the diuk that tells you the one is greater? You're trying to find out which one. They both called Chukah, so they're both equal. Leave it at that. Where's the Pesach here? Where's the opening? And the second shaila is that they are equal. The Ma'aseh says all mitzvahs are equal, even not Chukah. Base, yeah. Yeah, so the way the Mefarshim answer, kind of ties it in. To know which one you read first. That's the whole teichen of the Shaila. Because I would have thought like this: they're equal, they're called chukim, so you got to have one before the other. The one that was given earlier. That
kind of answers the question: why are we asking that?
Yeah.
That's the point.
That's the point of the Mefarshim. The point of the Mefarshim is what's the whole question here? Why even bother to ask which is greater? In order to determine the pel which you read earlier.
That's not here. That's not here.
No, I'm just saying it's the Mefarshim, the Medrash. But doesn't answer the Rebbe's question. Like the first question, or either of them really.
The answer is why we ask.
So you could have so it shouldn't be framed. It should be which one you read before the other. Since they're both equal, you know which one to read before. That's how it should be said. Not Gedola. The end that comes out that there's a Maila, it is, but it is Gedola because everybody needs Paradumba, but mitzat Pashtus, Chukah, they're the same. So the question should be simply, you don't know which one we read first, which one has precedence in and then you'll have the most of the matrons would help us. The matrunos would help us. So Apichsidis will get the answer. The Indian who the Zeshishtem doimin. Why are they? So first of all, why are they equal? In fact, all mitzvahs, the chukim. Because at the chukim level, the equality of all mitzvahs is front and center. The hine mitzvahs bechlalim rotzen elyon. All mitzvahs bechlala rotzen elyon shezel b'chinasev kalalmin, which means therefore that they're all equal. What's sev kalalmin? Transcendent, not hischalkus, not division. So all mitzvahs are the rotzen elyon. Ubefrat chukim, and especially chukim. Since chukim are not invested at all in seichel, so it's a pure seiv kalam. So in other words, other mitzvahs it's seiv kalam, but invested also in tamdas imimala kalam. But be'etzem it's all seiv kalam.
All mitzvahs are seiv kalam, but here it's just higher than tamdas.
All mitzvahs be'etzem are higher than tamdas, but they've been dressed up in tamdas. And chukim are not even dressed in tamvadas, packaged in tamvadas. We've spoken about this. Even the most logical mitzvahs, there are scenarios where you can see it's a rotzen el yilamayim mitamvadas.
Right, shyness and then the murder. You always give that much.
The murder, yeah. I mean, example: stealing. You find cases where you take an apple from an orchard that anyway it's going to fall and rot, and the owner, when the person is hungry and they're going to be not dying, but they're very hungry. You can't take the apple. You're doing a favor. It's actually going. You can justify. Leisigno, finished. It's in small details that it comes out, but overall it's up yiseichel. But even the most logical mitzvahs, this is the pratim, are clearly the rotzen elyon. But in chukim, it's pure rotzen elyon. There's no seichel at all. Be'emes says there is there too. Because the rotzen elyon comes down to us through ishtalshelus. So either comes derech ma'ivir or derech hislapshus. If it comes derech hislapshus, then it gets very elaborate packaging. Reasons are pisah, that's atzilus, and then it's nimshech bria, that's drush. We get all of these elaborate reasons. If it goes derech ma'ivir, without going to the riches now, then the reasons are present, but in a way of more makif. Like derech ma'ivir, derech makif. You be in a place and you adopt its whole way of life, or you remain who you are, but you adapt to it. You don't adopt. There's adapt and there's adopt. And therefore, Chassidus is masbeh that even the sharpness is it's based on Kabbalah. It's not Chassidus. There's basic reasons of not mixing the animal world and the plant world and respecting species. There's a beautiful explanations, but even clearly on the Inyan. Why Kosov, and Paraduma too, mind you. Even Pshutisham, because Rashi gives all these explanations. And the fact that someone comes Tomei, all of it. But that's not, the reasons there are not beprotis and bischalkos and elaborate and so many multi-layered as they are the mitzvahs that come b'derech islapshus through ishtalshalus, which are the rest of the mitzvahs, mishpatim, etc. Okay, let's see the Maimer. If you do so where's he going with this? Okay, you do a sev kalam l'maylim bischalkus. So sev kalam is beyond division. Shezeh achili b'mamal kalam sev kalam. The malakalam, which is post simtzum, shemalakalam b'beifin shel ischalkus. It comes in a way that there's division and levels and ranks, higher, lower descriptions, very elaborate division. What's an analogy of malakalam in our world? Reflected in the Maimar Chazal in Medrash, Man neshama malis aguf, kach HaKadosh Baruch Hu malis, just like the neshama fills the body, the Eibusha fills the world. Now, the way the neshama fills the body, it is invested and fused and tailored to each limb and organ of the body, the power to see in the eyes and intelligence, seichelis in the brain, etc. Tremendous movement in the hands and feet. And each limb and organ has its own chayis, tailored and specific to that aver. As he goes on to say, in the same way that the life force of the soul that's invested in the guf, we're talking nefesh achiyunis, the animating soul, it's divided to 48 limbs, etc. So to this level of the divine, that's teva, that gives the nature, the properties, and animates existence, all of it in the myriads of details, it all comes in Ischalkus. But Hashem's transcendent revelation, which is responsible for creating Yesh Ma'ayin, basically, that's in Lamaylim Ischalkus. We explained many times. It's not a big miracle to create a grain of sand out of nothing, it is to create the universe out of nothing. It's not a big miracle. You appreciate that? Yesh Ma'ayin is fundamentally impossible. So it's not more Sefer Kalalmin to create a big thing or a small thing or a higher form of life or a lower form of life. And Sefer Kalalmin transcends because it's lost. We do not feel the creative force that brings us into existence out of nothing. If we did, we'd feel the bittul, and Hashem doesn't want that. But Malach Kalalmin, we can feel. You feel it, you're alive. And you can see it. See the different properties in nature and the energies that animate all of this. So, and that's the reason that going back to Chukas Pesach are similar to the Yosem mitzvah the Chukim, because they're Chukim. And Shem B'chidas Sev Kalam and Shlemayim B'schalka, so they can't divide and separate. There's no difference. They're both the pure expression of the divine will. And it's the Maida Mischalkos. I want V'gamarnu. Okay, so far so good. But now it's going to get very subtle. So he's explained so far just why they're both equal, because they're both chukim. And in Sefer Kalalman, there's no division. No higher, no lower, no difference. No greater, no smaller. Yeah? However, be'emes, yesh chilukim adregis gam b'pchinas Sefer Kalalman. There actually are different levels in Sefer. Well, then what's the difference between that and Mamala? We'll explain. So we have to be patient. In the transcendent, there is the big picture transcendence, and then there's relative transcendence. Right? We can appreciate what that means. The beyond. Yeah? So there is beyond in the big picture, beyond everything. And then there's beyond a particular level. That's makif relative to its limitation. Different levels of learning, some levels of learning that are beyond a person, but beyond him, not beyond the person of greater intelligence. His beyond is a different beyond. Now, generally, we're not going to elaborate because it needs a lot of work. Just get the general idea. If you don't understand it in its detail, so be it. We'll just try and give a few words here. The big picture makif is the etzem ma'or. Makifim protiim, and the relative makifim is a pashtus. The manifested levels of oir will have relative levels of makif. Okay, maybe you can help me. Everything we've learned all the years, maybe something. Etzem and makif, what's the difference? Actually, there's three things you're talking about here. Etzef, makif, and ischalkus, and pnimius. Words we encounter all the time. Pnimius, makif, and etzem. Can you give me a definition for our McGill student? Many times we spoke about this. Many mashalim for it. A human being. The etzem is the makif, and there's the protim, the pnimius. The etzem is a human being. And there's no ischalkus. You're not more human than anybody is, no more human than anybody else. And then so that's called the makif klali, the overarching, essential, common denominator. The key word is etzem ma'or. Why is not etzem only? Because it's manifest as human being. It's a manifested entity, not an undefined bilti mischalik, bilti misgala essence, like the atom, relatively speaking. I'm not talking the atom. There's an atom out there. You know I'm talking about it. Human being behind the door, it's relative etzem. And then there's makifim protim, would be the personality type, which is different. But it's a general difference. And then there's the pnimius dika, but the details of his levels of intelligence and emotion. It was a bagashmius. He's even bagash, human being. And then there's the makif, that's the makif atzmi, human being. The makif proti is, you can't say male or female. It's some kind of division. Still not giving you a close picture of the inner workings of the person. Or big, tall, whatever makif prati, many makif prati that we could pick, that just gives us a general picture, like from the distance, but not a close-up engagement. And then there's the yonim pnimium, there's seichel, the midas that you get to know over time, etc. So there's relative, yeah. So let's get the flow again.
How does that, just to see how, the ISIS, how does the muscle come back to the actual?
Because you're going to understand now that in Sefer of Kalalman, there's also ischalkus.
No, I'm saying in the actual word of like etzem ma'or, and saying in actual Indian.
The nimshal.
Yeah, what's the nimshal, basically?
You gave him Mosul.
Yeah, what's the nimshal?
The nimshal, the maila.
Yeah, like even in the ISIS, like what does that mean in the?
He's going to explain that Sefer Kalalman is not etzem ma'or. Sefer Kalalman is already ispashtus.
I'm asking the muscle we gave the human being, some more explanation is Akiprati, and then Venus is all the, let's see more details. And now, Lamaila, what does that mean? Etzem ma'or is what?
Etzem ma'or reveals the I am of God, undefined, other than God, whatever. I mean, this I am God. And makifim, protim. Okay, we'll see. We'll see Michelle Rotzen Seichel. The Maimon is going to give us the parallels both in detail, Lamata and Lamaila. Let's see it in the Maimon. V'yuven starts as Gimel. I just glanced at it, but V'yuven gives us asbara. But like often is the case, we struggle in the V'yuven for a long time. We kind of got it before that, V'yuven, and then we're thrown. But in the end, there's a deeper understanding. There's humor to Chassidus too. V'yuven Adova introduces a whole. So let's get the flow again. Even in Sefer Kalalmin, there's also a division. Just like there's overarching makifs, and makifim pratim and relative makifs. The makif hakloli b'chalal is b'chinas etzem. A makif overarching kloli is already expression of essence. Makifim pratim, if we speak about relative transcendent definitions or expressions, that's already b'chinas ispashus, not the essence, but the way the thing, the entity is expressed. Again, human being, and then expressed in some kind of form. In that expression, there's transcendent forms, relatively transcendent forms, and then relatively detailed, highly compartmentalized forms. There's a general personality type, and then there's a tremendous detail in the analysis of the intellect and the emotion, etc. Let's just get these words, but you'll get the idea. There's SS Svidis, the Igulim. There's 10 Svidis as they appear in Igulim. Igulim means Makif, but they appear on different planes. There's the Igul HaKesed, there's the Makif of Kesed. That's one over, it's a big Igul, a big Makif. Igul HaChochma, then there's the Makif of Chochma, which is relative to Kesed. It's already like a pneumius defined level, but relative to Bina, it's Makif. And there's Igul HaBina. Then Bina is pneumius lagabe Chochma, but Igul lagabe the Midas. Ad Igul HaMalchus, even Malchus, that Tzilus, relative to Bria, is also transcendent. So it's simply saying, without getting lost in Kabbalistic language, quite simply that the transcendent is relative to that which it transcends. There's finite is relative. Atzilus is finite, legabe Ein Sof, but bligvul legabe bia, relatively speaking. We say to him, moreover, now comes a very big statement. How many big a statement? We'll just say it today, or tomorrow we'll address it. Max the Mayim himself does a little bit. Where's the main division? Numberless division. Numberless is in Tzoivev. Not 10 svidis. That's in Ishtalshalus. But in the Sefer Kalalmin is endless svidis. So how do we reconcile this with no chiluk? Let's say the mind is going to get there. Just not to put everybody out of the misery. So you're not
Asleep.
See, but maybe you shouldn't sleep tonight and think about it. The Nekuda is just simply that the Chalkus in Sefer Kalalmin is mitzad the shleimus of the Eibishter, can express himself in endless ways. So not lost in there is the simple truth that this is God expressing himself in all of these ways. It's the you that's emphasized. But once we get to Natzilus and Ishtalshalus already, then each level claims title to its own Maila. Because it's a world of Hel and Vehester, of Tzimtzum, and big is big and small is small. And in their own worlds, one is bigger than the other. That's because they're in their own world, and lost in Ishtalshalus because of the Tzimtzum is the overarching truth. This is just all the way I'm expressing myself. Big, small, but it's all me. So the big and the small, the Svidis and Ketz, are all equal. One is not more you than the other. Gvul and Bligvul is the same. Okay, that's the general idea. Is that clear? No? Ask. Or tracht.
think before I ask.
What?
I will think.
You'll think before. That's a good idea. It's always a good idea. Okay. Well, we'll stop here, but the story, I guess we'll continue tomorrow. We're up to who? The Notele, or the Bichele, which of the two Chassidim we have to meet. I'm not going to go into it now. It's late already. We met already who? The Notele, and tomorrow the Bichele. It was a big Gvir. Okay? We'll see. Looks like an interesting encounter between the two.
It was